We are the champions. We are the... Oh, hello there, and welcome to an intimate look into the life of your fantasy football commissioner. In an effort to appear more accessible and open to those of you in the league, I've invited these cameras into our home so that you can get to know me just a little bit better. You get to know your humble, most humble fantasy commissioner. One way, of course, that you can get to know a fellow I've always found is to have a look at his knick-knackery. And as you can see, I have quite the collection of knick-knackery here. Well, Marty, why don't you take a look here, Marty? I think you appreciate bobblehead dolls, if I remember right. If you'll see here, everybody, that if you've ever wondered where I get my fantasy football or my football genius from, it's from years of watching the Boise State Broncos dominate on the football field. Including 2 victories over the University of Oregon Ducklings, I believe. But in the last decade, they've been dominating on the football field. And so if you've wondered where I get that from, it's from watching these fine young men perform on the field of battle. Some of these people you might recognize, of course, Doug Martin there, Kellen Moore here, the legendary Kellen Moore. But Marty, I think you'll probably appreciate my latest addition the most to this bobblehead collection. That's this fine specimen here, Shea McClellin. Now, Marty, you may know Shea McClellin from recent events. He just recently, actually, in the last game, the Chicago Bears against the Green Bay Packers, had his first sack of the season against your quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, the first pick of the draft. And with that sack, I believe he broke Aaron Rodgers' collarbone, putting him out for an extended period of time. I sure do appreciate this bobblehead doll. Of course, one of my newest, most latest collection additions to my collections of knickknacks and whatnots is this right here. Now, some of you won't recognize this because you haven't got one yet, but this right here is the weekly Commissioner Game Ball, which I usually give to the team that has had the greatest performance for the week. And this week, why, that's me. I get the Commissioner's Game Ball this week for week number 9 with my devastating, crippling performance against the Running Rhinos. 127.5 to 91.5, but who's counting? But anyway, this will go great right here on my shelf. Now, we're looking ahead, of course, to week number 10, and we're going to take a look at the matchup of the week. This week, the matchup of the week is between 2 6-3 teams. 2 teams who are right there battling it out to stay in playoff contention. Of course, I'm talking about the Moscow Macho Men, headed up by Marty, and my arch rivals, the Eliminators, who are, quite frankly, running away with it right now. They're not in first place, but points-wise, they're kind of running away with it. Speaking of points, the reason why this matchup is so important is because Marty Solomon, who's been the Moscow Macho Men, who have been in playoff contention pretty much in the top 4 spot all year long, well, with a loss, I think they'll be slipping right out of those top 4 spots. And, well, I think that would leave the door open for those of us in 4th and 5th place who are right there with more points than Marty. That would be me and the Irving Bolts. So you see, it's a crucial matchup. It's very important. So I hope you enjoy this intimate look into the life of your fantasy football commissioner. We'll probably do this again from time to time. We'll get a little creative with some of the camera angles. We'll get a little bit more creative with the way we do things. But speaking of creative camera angles, Matthew Maples, what was it you asked me a couple weeks ago? I think you finally won a game or something like that, and you leapfrogged me over into a spot, and you asked me, what was the question? What's the view like down there? Well, after this week, Matthew, why don't you tell me, what's the view like down there? Well, folks, thank you so much for joining me on this intimate look, and I hope you have a great week. Good luck to you all.
Take 26.
What's a funny song that I could be listening while you're...
We are the champions.
What else?
Davy Crockett.
No.
I don't know, man. Come up with your own song. It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
But Marty, I think you'd be most interested in my newest addition to the bobblehead collection, and that's this fine young man, Shea McClellan. Marty, you might know Shea McClellan from his from recent events, perhaps the last Chicago Bears Green Bay Packers game. Shea McClellan actually got his first sack of the season in that game against Aaron Rodgers. And with that first sack of the season, I believe he broke his shoulder bone.
Wait a minute. I have Aaron Rodgers. Son of a...